All right, so a very good evening to everyone here. Please, I want to believe everybody's hearing me. Please, if you are hearing me, I want to see you all indicating in the chat box. A very good evening to every farmer in the house. Good, excellent. Good evening. Good evening, good evening, and good evening. Good. So my name is Victor Bobai Ali. I'm the Programs Manager, Growth for Sustainable Agriculture Initiative, and I'm pleased to be here with you all again on a beautiful Saturday evening like this. I want to congratulate you all for being here on time. I can see a good number of 67 available, and I know the number would go up in time. So again, once again, you're all welcome to this very excellent session this evening. And today, we have a very special guest in our midst, and this very person is one that is dear to my heart. Yeah, is dear to my heart. A very excellent friend he has been. But before I welcome him to take off the stage, once again we are Growth for Sustainable Agriculture Initiative, and of course we believe that Africa needs better farmers and not just more farmers. And in that light is the reason why this initiative was enacted, So farmers like us, like you, can equip ourselves in this capacity of development training, so that we can mount the stage and make Nigeria what it has been before now, and especially during the first republic, when agriculture was leading and has placed Nigeria back then amongst the top economy of the world. So for us to do that, we have to develop ourselves with such capacities. And that's why we at Sustainable Agriculture Initiative believe that, yes, we need to, equip young farmers to mount the stage and do better, sustainably and profitably. Yes, the essence of those two words, sustainably and profitably. Yeah, so once again, we welcome you all. Please, you can as well reach out to your friends that are not available here, that have not joined yet, to join us in this session. All right, so today's topic, of course, today's topic is biosecurity for livestock and crop farming. Biosecurity for livestock and crop farms. And today, our facilitator is a lecturer in the Department of Animal Science, Kaduna State University. Like I said, this very person is first someone who is dear to my heart. So please, Mr. John Yayi, please, can you please raise your hand so that our technical team can see you, and of course, unmute you when the time comes. So please, Mr. Kende Idowu, you can drop your hand so that our facilitator can be spotlighted. So Mr. John, if you please hearing me, you can raise your hands up so that when we are done, when I'm done with the introduction, you can be unmuted. So like I said, Mr. John is someone who is dear to my heart. I remember he's a colleague of mine. We graduated together from Kaduna State University. And then during my time with him in the university, I just wanted to see that I am the best, because John happened to be the best in our class. John was 100% first class student during our time. So I met John. I told John, how do you do this? I want to be able to, to have good grades like you. So John told me, okay, so that he reads a lot too, and it's not easy. So John told me that, okay, this is what we'll do. He brought out a document that I should sign. Whenever he's reading, I am reading. No, see, when he's not sleeping, I'm not sleeping. When he's not eating, I was like, are you serious? I had to sign that document. And trust me, yeah, even though I didn't graduate with the first class like him, I graduated with a very strong second class offer. Yes, you are laughing. I can see you're laughing, but trust me, this guy is a very disciplined individual. And like I said, he owns an MSc in animal science from Aberystwyth University in the United Kingdom. And he was also a finalist in the World Food Forum and Food and Agricultural Organization Transformative Research Challenge that was held in Rome. John is a very excellent, he's not just a farmer, he's an excellent farmer at that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to sit tight, brace up, because you're out for a very bumpy ride. And for the fact that John is a young person like us, yeah, and he's excellent in this field. So everybody with a round of applause, the digital hands, join me as I welcome Mr. John Yayi as he take off the stage. Mr. John, up to you, sir.
All right, thank you. Can everyone hear me? Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are very clear.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm very grateful for the invitation to be a facilitator for these really wonderful events on biosecurity for livestock and crop farms. Don't mind Victor Bovayo. This is hyping me like this. So I really it was a great time where we stayed in the room together. It was really interesting. After telling him to sign the document, like gave me power to okay, when I say do this, you will not complain. So that during the line you will not think that I hate you. So, but it was a cool time. It was really a cool time. And yeah, thank you. We've been friends. We've kept our friendship for ever since. Thank you. Okay. I really hope today's session is going to be really interactive. I don't know everything, and this is about agriculture. Sometimes our experiences are really different in our farms. Some people here may be crop farmers, some here are animal farmers, and some probably just want to learn to know how to go and start. So I really hope today is really interactive and we all can learn. I share my own knowledge, you share your own knowledge as well, and I also learn as I am speaking. So thank you. Whenever I'm ready to go, I'll go, but it's really an honor to be here. Thank you.
All right, so of course, sir, you can go on. You can go on. Yes, sir, you must.
Okay, I can go on now. All right. Thank you. So I am going to be sharing my screen. Uh,
Perfect.
all right. Just give me a second here. Okay. All right, so our topic, basically biosecurity for crop farm and animals. So first of all, we basically know what biosecurity is about. From the name bio and security, it's biological security. So this is a way to protect our animal farm, protect our crop farm, and by extension, also protect ourselves during our agricultural activities. And it's always the first line of defense in terms of protecting our yield, basically. And a lot of times we know what biosecurity entails, but we just don't want to do it. There's this idea that we feel maybe our animals, like they're animals now, they can handle anything that you throw at them. The way we keep our animals, the access we give people into our farms. So anyways, biosecurity plays a critical role in maintaining the health of livestock and crops. And by more extensive definition, biosecurity is the set of measures that you take to prevent disease coming into your animal farm or diseases and pests coming to your animal farms and into your crop farm. And also the set of measures you take to contain it when it is, when an outbreak occurs. So a lot of times we tend to stop at the definition of preventing it from entering the farm. But after it enters the farm, what then do we do? Do you just allow it to ravage your whole farm? Do you allow it to attack other people's farm? So just like a common example that pertains to human being, we remember the incidence of COVID-19. When COVID-19 hit, then there was a sort of protocols that were put in place, limiting our movements, telling us to put face masks. Even when you try to travel, do international travels, to ask you to bring some documents. Where have you been? Where were you last seen? So on and so forth. Those are all biosecurity measures. So hopefully, this training module will provide rural and smallholder farmers with practical knowledge and tools to design and implement effective biosecurity measures. By the end of this session, hopefully we would understand the concept of biosecurities and how really we can change our mindset about biosecurity, because a lot of it is really about the mindset of what we take farming to be and how we treat our animals. Because there are a lot of things that we would not allow to be done to ourselves, but we allow it to be done to the animal. And really, biologically speaking, we are the same. So, okay. So we'll be defining biosecurity. Then we'll also talk about preventing disease spread and developing biosecurity plans. So biosecurity refers to the measures designed to protect farms from the introduction and spread of harmful organisms such as pathogens, pests, and diseases. Now, whenever you start up your farm, it's just like any movie. There's going to be an antagonist, something that wants to eat from you. So once you start your farm, there are going to be pests too that wants to feed. There are going to be diseases that wants to attack your farm. There are just going to be like series of bad guys, basically, that you then need to protect your farm from. Okay, just the same way you protect yourself every day. One thing about biosecurity is by not doing anything, you are enabling something to happen to you. All right, so by definition, pathogens, when I'm talking about pathogens, I'm talking about microorganisms that can cause disease in plants and animals. So for instance, I may be talking about internal parasites. I may be talking about even rodents for attacking your crops. I could be talking about, aphids and the likes. And when I'm talking about pests, well, pests seem to be something you can see more visibly. It could be birds that come to your farm, wild birds that come to your farm to eat from your farm, take up your seeds, or even an animal farm, they come and they eat the feed you give to the animals. So diseases are illnesses that affect the health of farm animals. Okay, and there are different types of diseases. Some could be mild, some could be severe. A very severe disease could be avian influenza that attack our birds. Okay, so what's the importance of biosecurity? First of all, you want to minimize disease outbreak. That's the first thing. Now, farms is kind of like an artificial environment we provide, where we house so many animals in one place at a time. It's not something you usually like find in the wild. Here we build like a confinement, we build a house, we crowd animals together, which is really basically not natural. So because these animals are in close proximity, they are sharing the same feeding trough, drinking from the same water source, sleeping on the same floor. So when one animal gets sick, if you allow just one mistake come into your farm, then it spreads rapidly because of the close proximity and the sharing the animals have with each other. Another one is an importance of biosecurity is sometimes some of the things I say may not necessarily be on the slide. So it's like an interactive something. Another thing, you're protecting your food supply. Whenever anything that happens to us as small scale farmers basically affect everybody. We're all connected. I was reading in a document that says over 98% of Nigerians' food supply is provided by small scale farmers. So imagine if small scale farmers don't understand the importance of biosecurity, then that's really going to be detrimental to our food security. Because if we lose our small scale farmers or some disease outbreak happens and our farmers don't know how to contain this, they are not connected, there's no biosecurity design in place, then we're in big trouble. And over 90% of our farmers are small scale farmers. So that's it. And then also it's important for economic stability. By implementing biosecurity and protecting our food source, we are increasing and generating revenue, of course, to stabilize our economy. Some of the crises that happen, whether, let's even talk about not biosecurity now, but like real security, the one of bandits, preventing people from going to the farm. You can see the impact it has on everybody. Food becomes more expensive, food is hard to see, and all of that. So the same thing with biosecurity. If you allow these organisms to attack your farms, then the same thing, there's going to be shortage of food supply, there's going to be famine and the rest. Okay. So it's also very important, public health protection, which sometimes is overlooked. A lot of these diseases are also zoonotic in nature. So, for example, when I talked about avian influenza, so avian influenza is also the virulent strain also capable of infecting people. There are a lot of diseases that can go from animals to human, including worms infection, including even some fever. You could contract it from these animals. You have like liver flukes. If you're walking a lot with cows, with sheep, with goats, you could get liver fluke infection as well. And that also transfers to humans. So biosecurity, protecting our animals, also it's by extension protecting us. Okay. So what are the key aspects of biosecurity? So in this place, we have proactive measures and reactive measures. So proactive measure is when prevention is always better than cure. First of all, you have to even prevent this disease from coming into your farm in the first place. It's very important. A lot of us have farms that we are not very careful about how our farm, how open our farms are to other people. We have family and friends that just come from anywhere and then just walk into our farms, and eventually you just find your animals dying one after the other. And then we have reactive measures. So now reactive measure is the case of, okay, there's an outbreak. What do we do? What do we do now? And that's the issue. In our country, we are mostly reactive than proactive. We could see a trouble coming, but we'll sit down and wait until the trouble arrives, and then we want to fight it. A similar situation, which is really not about agri. There was a tree, I was in Zaria, there was a big tree that was just close to a pole. And then people have been seeing that tree for a long time, that this tree can affect that pole. But nobody did anything about it. The NEPA people, they were always passing by, looking at it, no problem. They did not go to prune the trees, cut down the tree, no. Until there was a heavy rainfall and the tree fell over the wires, and the whole of Samaru, there was no lights. And then you saw them the next day, all of them rushed to the place to try and fix the problem now. And it's going to be more costly getting wires to fix things than just preventing it in the first place. So it's similar stuff. So on that note, I'm going to mention 3 levels of biosecurity for animals, or basically in agriculture. Pardon me, I'm more of an animal scientist, so a lot of times I'll be tilting towards speaking animal science. But I'll also try to talk about crop science, but yeah, pardon me for that. So first of all, like I said, 3 levels of biosecurity when you're starting up your farm. First of all, you have the conceptual biosecurity. Now, I always explain this in a practical way so that for anyone here who has a farm or you're planning to start up a farm, like you really need to take this into consideration. So conceptual biosecurity is the primary biosecurity that should even happen in the first place. Now, this revolves around location of your farm, location of whether it's your animal farm or whether it's your crop farm. Location and access. Now, a lot of times we just tend to set up our farms anywhere. We set it up anywhere. We set up our farm in residential areas. We set up our farm next to other people's farms, very close. And this is wrong. It's something that we're used to, but this is wrong. Anybody who is planning on setting up a farm, you really needed to take into cognizance the location of your farm. Normally, it may not be easy, but normally, you set up your farm far from residential areas, and you also make sure that there are no neighboring farms next to your own farm. Because even if you are diligent in doing your work, your neighbor may not be diligent. And things just easily spread from someone's farm to your farm. Sometimes you may think you've put a fence dividing your farm and someone else's farm. But really, there is not, because if a wild bird visits this person's farm A, and then that wild bird travels to farm B to also go and do the same thing, it's going to pick up pathogens and pests from farm A and take it to farm B very easily. There was this study I was trying to get into. There are these birds we have, maybe not in large quantity in Nigeria, but these starling birds, they travel in groups, okay? So they were trying to relate the movement of these starling birds in different farms and also relate it to the spread of avian influenza. Because sometimes you wonder, how did disease get into my farm? Like, you just wonder, it seems to just look like witchcraft sometimes. And then you just find out that a lot of times it's these wild birds. These wild birds go into a certain farm. As they are eating, they are shitting on your feet. They are pooping as well. So after all the places the birds have visited, farm A, farm B, farm C, and they've eaten in all these places and have picked up things, eating it. Then they come to your farms, they poop as well, inside the drinking water, inside anything. And then your animals also feed from it. And then you find out that eventually your farm, your animals contract diseases from farms that are not even within your vicinity. So that's part of how your location matters. What are the type of things that are found in your location? And also entails how you limit access to people. That is also in the, okay, that's the next one. We talk after conceptual biosecurity, we go into structural biosecurity. Now, this structural biosecurity is talking about how do you even design your houses, your farmhouses in the first place? What are the barriers you've put in place? Some of us, especially, let's say, the poultry farmers here. When you do your poultry farm, you're supposed to have barriers before someone can enter the main poultry house. I remember in NAPRI, that is in ABU's area, but I will remember this very well, when we were doing our industrial training in NAPRI. We were not allowed into the poultry farm for whatever reason. Like, they've had an experience before of a disease outbreak and they will refuse anyone entry. And when you even get to the farm, there's going to be a set of It's not like you're just going to walk and you see poultry farm, like standing looking in front of you. There's going to be a barrier, like a first gate, maybe a second gate, like making people understand, like, hey, this is a no-go area. Now, a lot of us have farms, and let's say even some of us at our backyards, for instance, now. And then we have children in the house. We have visitors, let's say even people that come for a family meeting in your house. And then at the end of your family meeting, people will just walk to your barrier and say, Canada, you have goats, you have chicken, Canada, Kaza, and then, akwai kifi, and then everybody begins to just walk into your farms, you know, the open door, some even step inside to see your chicken. And you don't know where these guys are even coming from. Some of them have their own farms in their house. They carry it, whatever they've taken, they come to your house, they walk around. You don't have barrier. You don't restrict access to people. And that's very wrong. That's a serious biosecurity issue. So that's about the structural biosecurity. That means you also, in terms of a bit more larger farms, you also have to put in place how cars, like all these delivery vehicles that are bringing feed, how do they pass and park and offload the feed? They should not go too close to the animal farm. There should be an offloading site. And then we have procedural biosecurity, which is the tertiary biosecurity. Now, there are certain procedures we should always take and take seriously in our farms. Sometimes one thing that we don't tend to do, like we do before, is vaccinate our animals because of the cost of production these days. Sometimes we get away with it, sometimes we do not. Before, it was very common for you, once you bring your chickens, either maybe broilers or layers. It was very easy. It was very common then to always vaccinate against Newcastle. But now, because of cost of production, so people will just be like, let me just gamble this thing. And sometimes you may escape. But the time you will not escape, the result can be very devastating. So those are like standard procedures you do in your farm. Routines you always carry out. One thing we don't like to do, we don't like routines. There are times that even genuinely, when your animal, you see, even though it's one or two animal dies, just like a very strange death, you're supposed to carry that animal to a certified, sorry, like a research institute for them to identify, to do a postmortem, what was the cause of that death. Because, you know, sometimes for poultry farms, you know, it starts by the death of one bird, then it goes to 10, then to 100, and so on. So every time there should always be routines to carry out, procedures. Whenever you finish this production cycle, always go for the next, before the next production cycle, always sanitize your environment, disinfect your environment, always. But sometimes, because we did not have issue with the last flock, we just bring a new flock without disinfecting. And it's very bad to do something like that. Okay. So it reads, biosecurity for livestock farms involve implementing measures to prevent the introduction, like I've said, spread and impact of diseases among animals. These practices are critical to maintaining the health of the livestock, ensuring productivity, and protecting public health. Now, we can see some set of still biosecurity measures. Some we've already mentioned it. First, you can see we have farm access control. Your farm, you should only have your workers access your farm. People should not just walk into your farm. Anybody wants to see your farm, send them pictures. So restrict visitor access, maintain visitor logs. This is for tracking. Just like I remember the first confirmed case in Nigeria of that time during COVID, where they said it was one Italian guy. It was because of keeping of registers. So whenever there's a problem in your farm, you can go back to your logbook and check who came into this farm and see what was the most likely scenario, who would have likely cause this issue so that you can even go to the root of the issue. Provide protective clothing. A lot of us from our house, the clothes we dress from our house is what we wear directly into the farm. Straight up, no changing. Whether it is your crop farm or your, you should always have protective, personal protective clothing that you use for work. I remember during my MSc, I worked in a farm, and the house 21,000 birds. 21,000 birds to them was still small scale farming. Okay. So they house 21,000 birds. And every time I go to work there, from the gates, I'd always have to change into the farm clothes. I remove my boots, I remove my clothes, I always change. And there are even more serious farms that every day you're going to the farm, you bath. There's a room you also bath there. You must bath as well before you enter the farm. Okay, so sometimes it may look stressful, but it pays off at the end of the day. Prevention is always better than cure. Okay, feed and water safety. Use safe sources, store food properly. All right, so feed and water safety. Sometimes we have to be sure about where we're bringing our feed from. Be sure of the company, be sure of their own biosecurity protocols. Sometimes you don't just go and just buy feed from anyhow people. Go to companies that have reputation for how they protect their items. Sometimes when you go to go and buy, you can see the attitude of the people. And even when you bring this feed and water, always the way you should put it, like, let it be safe. You should not put your water in such a way that feces from the environment uh, just easily jump inside. And even if we should go back to the cases of, let's say, crops, for instance, especially in terms of irrigation, you should be sure of your irrigation water. Sometimes the water you're bringing comes with their own pathogens as well. And then all of a sudden, your crops, disaster happens to your crops. So usually, even though I know for practicality's sake, it's not really feasible that we would go and be doing water testing all the time. But there's a way that we should always try to check at least the water source that we are using and bring into the farm. Also, like, remember when I was talking about wild birds? We should protect the feed that the animals are eating from these wild birds. Make sure the animal rooms are closed to prevent wild birds from entering inside. Because these wild birds, their immune system is very different from our own animals. So easily they can carry disease. They can just be carriers of disease to come into your farm and then drop disease for your bird. And then your birds just begin to die. Whether it is, no matter how beautiful the wild birds are, try and put a barrier between your farm and these birds. Even rats will enter and be sharing food with your chickens as well. Rats will enter and be sharing food with your goats. And these rats come from all sorts of places. They are going to urinate inside the feed, and then your animals are going to eat it. They come down with diseases and so forth. Okay, store your feed very properly, store it safely. It's very good, for example, when storing feed, put natural animals there. Put your cats. Put a cat there where you store your feed. I mean, it goes a long way. Like, simple things go a long way in terms of biosecurity. Okay, quarantine protocols. All right, this one, a lot of us are very guilty about this one. You just go to the markets, you want to add flock. You just go and buy lots of new animals, and you just bring them and then just join them to the existing ones. Let them join, let them get to know each other. No. At least you should keep them in a separate place, in a separate pen for at least 2 weeks. Really, like, this is something that we should be doing. We should not just carry new animals and then just put with the old ones, no matter how healthy the animals is looking. Sometimes some animals will not manifest a disease until weeks. Okay, so have a quarantine room that you put the animal there, and monitor it before eventually joining your flock. And then also from your own animals, any animals that get sick, immediately remove it. Remove the animal and put into a separate place, not close to where the healthy ones are. Not close to where the healthy ones are. Because some of these diseases just spread aerosol. As the animal is breeding, any other animals in close proximity, it gets to them. So put it in a different room. Okay? And then always test and treat animals. Like I said, even though for practicality's sake, these sort of things may be expensive. Sometimes we prefer, okay, they just slaughter the animal. But in a real sense, we should be knowing why the animal are sick so that we can properly treat. Sometimes we just assume what is disturbing the animal. We now go to the vet and say, give us this drug. Just like how when we get sick, we assume always it's malaria and typhoid. Just go, give me drug for malaria and typhoid. So, but while in a more developed sense, society, we should be aiming towards always testing ourselves to be sure of what is bothering us first. What is bothering your animal? Okay. And then hygiene practices. Always clean up. Clean up. When you're going into your farm, be clean. Sometimes you use the same clothes. Those of us that have, okay, even try to have clothes for our farms. The clothes we'll use I'm entering. And like I said, it's a mentality. It's not farm I'm entering. It's like at least every week at least wash that clothes before entering the farm. The farm that I said I worked in, I think our clothes were always washed twice a week when going inside. Like that things you just don't take unnecessary risks. What will it take you to clean your clothes before entering? You're not a painter. You're dealing with live animals. You're not a painter that paint will splash on you, you still carry it, go to a new house to go and paint. No problem. But in a farm, like no. Imagine you're in a hospital and then the doctor, let's say he finished doing surgeries for some patients. His body is all dirty. And then he now comes into your own room to treat you. Ah, you will not be happy. No, you will not be happy about that. So the same way, we should also take ourselves like doctors for our animals and look and be clean to go and take care of them, to take care of our animal. Like I've mentioned before, we should always clean and disinfect and provide hand washing stations. It's always good to wash your hands always. And then even the animal drinking through, when we're changing our water, we should learn to take our time to clean those containers very well. Sometimes we don't like to clean, we just rinse it, or sometimes we just pour the water and put new water. No, we shouldn't do that. And pest and wildlife management, like I've said, is very important to prevent wild animals from entering your farms because these animals are really carriers of diseases. Okay. And then sometimes, like in terms of crops, sometimes you may have your young seedlings. A lot of times you cover them with some sort of, what do you call it? Like, is it greenhouses or what? To prevent, they are at a very vulnerable stage. So that you prevent insects from entering, wind carries all sorts of pathogen from destroying your crops. At least sometimes for crops, they can get to a stage where they are more resistant to some things. But at a very sensitive stage, we need to take our time to do some of these things. Okay. So enhancing crop farm biosecurity strategies. We have integrated pest management, IPM. Now, integrated pest management, it's a set, like from the word integrated, it's a set of different actions you take with the goal of limiting pests and diseases, but limiting pests in your farm. So you could be integrating chemical control with biological control, with even mechanical control, all in the farm. All right. So now remember that your aim always is not for your farm to have zero pests. You can never do that. Your goal is to ensure your farm have very minimal level of pests in your farm. Now, the reason why integrated pest management is very important is that you don't rely on any one strategy to try to control pests on your farm. Because, for example, if you're beginning to rely solely on using chemicals, for instance, you're creating a very bad scenario for your farm where the pest is now developing a resistance against the chemicals you're applying. So you should always mix. This thing. So I know biological control is very hard. Like it has not really been well established for us in terms of um, using natural enemies to control these insects. But a lot of times these natural enemies exist. For example, we have a lot of wasps and these ladybugs in our farm that usually eat up aphids. But sometimes because we so heavily rely on this chemical control, we end up killing the natural enemies and then allow the pests to population to just explode. Okay. Sometimes there are some ways of even controlling your pests that sometimes it just requires using maybe detergent and water to splash the plants, like lodge off some of these pests. Once they are lodged off, sometimes some of them they don't come back on again. Okay, so we should always mix things up. And then seed and plant material quality. A lot of times we have the attitude of not going to certified organization to go and get, let's say, some resistant varieties of our plants, of our crops to plants. A lot of times because we don't know that there are resistant varieties. Sometimes we just go to the market and say, we're looking for seed of this, we're looking for the seed of that. But there are certified places, let's say even in Institute of Agricultural Research, IAR, or there are some of your professors or people that are into farming. You just call and ask them, like, where can I get improved seeds? Where can I get the seed from? Because a lot of these seeds, like sometimes you go to go and buy in markets, they are already contaminated. Some of them already have pests embedded in them, and you just come and you plant them in your farm, and then disaster happens. Or some of us are so scared of the idea of genetic modified organisms, and these ones are GMOs, so it's going to kill you. You will not be able to produce children, and all of that is coming from the white people. Go by. So yeah, we're so scared of some superstitions, honestly. But really, there are places we can get certified seeds and just use them, improve varieties. Sometimes we think they are very expensive, but the output they'll give you at the end of the day will more than commensurate for the cost of the production. Okay. You also do crop rotation because the more you plant in a certain area, the more pests are building on that certain field. So you always have to switch at times. And then you switch to a crop that is of a different species to the crop that you just planted there. Like you don't switch to another crop that the pests will still attack that same crop. That's why a lot of knowledge is good. And a lot of times you always really tend to link up with what do you call them, these extension agents. They have this knowledge. There are a lot of people that have this knowledge. Like there are a lot of people, for example, I can just call in ABU's area that I know my friends, they always call some lecturers there in the crop production unit to ask these questions. Okay, this is what I've been planting in this field. When I want to move, what next can I plant in that setting? They don't tell you. A lot of times we just want to do things without asking, like we are the lone wolf. And in truth, in the wild, the lone wolf dies first. Okay, so we always learn to ask questions. So, and then also the field management. Sometimes when you see there's a problem in this farm, abandon the farm for a while. sanitize the farm. Sometimes you even have to just burn because some pests there have built themselves in that place and they are not ready to leave anytime soon. So you just have to leave that crop field. Sometimes just burn the whole plant or spray or use some chemicals that can really just disinfect the field. Right. So developing a farm biosecurity plan. Now, like I said, really there is no one size fits all in terms of the design of a biosecurity plan. It always comes down to what are you planning to raise in your farm? What are you going into? Are you going into cattle production? Are you going into poultry? Different things. Okay. So, and a lot of it is about prevention. And a lot of it, like I said, really in the beginning, it's about your mindset in terms of this biosecurity. There's not like one magic something. There are a lot of things that we already know that we're supposed to do, but we will not do it because it's animals. You understand? So key components of biosecurity plan, farm description, it's just like when I mentioned in the three level of biosecurities, when I was talking earlier about the conceptual, the structural, and the procedural. Okay, so I'm just going to go through it quickly, like what is here, because we've basically talked about it already. So, description of the farm, map out the farm layouts, detailing the biosecurity zones. It's very important. It's also talking about where are you siting your farm. Okay, you've started your farm now. Okay, are there farms close to your own farm? That's in terms of risk assessment. Are there other farms close to your farms? What kind of wild animals are there? What kind of pest has been identified there before? You take all these things into consideration before siting your farm in a certain place. Is it a residential area? Can you stop people from, going close to your farm? There are some farms that passerbys just, throw things into your farm. And then your animals will pick up these things. Or even in your crop farm, some of these things that they throw in may be toxic to your plants. So, and then you also need to talk about what are your preventive measures? Preventive measures in terms of the barricades you put, the barriers you put between people and your farm. What are the routes in your farm where vehicle can pass? Okay. And then also your own yourself, like I talked about your personal protective clothing. Are they in place for you to use? Do you have your disinfectants with you? Do you have your disinfectants with you? Like so many things you always have to consider. Like if you're going to take care of yourself and your family, usually and they say there's a disease outbreak coming out. What are you going to do? I remember when there was Ebola outbreak. When Ebola outbreak showed up, a lot of us knew the biosecurity to do. We didn't want to interact with anybody. We didn't want to go outside. Whatever government tell us to do, we'll do it. They say drink salt, everybody drank salt. People drank salt and all of that. Like, it's all biosecurity, even though the drinking salt part was, was, uh-uh. So yeah, I remember my mom at that time when they say we should drink salt. I was trying to reason out the scientific basis of telling me to drink salt to kill virus. But at least people were complying. And that's the same thing you should do on your farm. Make sure people comply. Okay? So the same way you will treat your family in terms of biosecurity, it's the same way you should treat your animals as well in terms of biosecurity. There should be monitoring and response. You should always pay close attention to the behaviors of your animals. A lot of times, your animals will begin to behave in a certain way, trying to signal to you that, hey, something is happening, but sometimes we're not paying attention to these things. And then an outbreak, there's the quiet before the storm. Things may seem very cold, and then you think nothing is going on, and then boom, there's an outbreak. Okay? And then very important, training and communication. When you have people working in your farm, there should be proper training. You should train your staff, okay, this is what you should do. This is how you should take care of this animal. This is how you should treat this farm. You don't carry people who just enter the farm. You clean yourself up before you enter the farm. You know, you don't just allow people anyhow. Like I said, the farms I worked at, the moment I'm entering, like there was training first. There was training first. First thing, you must train people how they should take care of that farm. Very important. Okay, you tell them the routines that they should always do, and you make sure they comply. You know, once you have new workers on your farm, after telling them, after 1 or 2 weeks, if they see that you're not too serious about it, then will forget it. They'll forget those routines that should happen. Okay, so these things we've already talked about it. Neighboring farms, contaminated feed, visitors, vehicles. Sometimes we buy very old feeds that already have fungi growing in them. We'll say, just give the animals the animals. Or we just go to one place, just go and pack waste. You know, say that animals are the animals and they can eat it. You know, without assessing the hygiene of that area. Once we just say this one is cheaper, we just collect it, we dump it for our animals. It's wrong. A lot of times, take time to read a label. Read the label of the something you're buying. Read it. It's biosecurity. Okay. Try to see what is the composition of that feed. Now there are a lot of feed that don't even have label. They'll just tell you this one is cheaper than this one that everybody know. I would not read it. We'll just buy it. Ask questions always. All right. You know. Okay, we've basically talked about this. Okay, using of certified seeds, disinfectant tool. And then, yes, also very important in terms of disinfecting your tools. Some of us borrow tools from one farm to another to use. I feel like this farming season. You will just go to another person's house and go and collect garma. You will not clean it, nothing. I know some of this equipment, because of its soil, there could even be pests such as these nematodes. Very tiny nematodes that will be embedded in the soil on this farming equipment. You go, you collect it from your neighbors, you come immediately and start using it on your own farm. And then you just transfer some pests from one farm to another farm, even diseases as well. So just a little time to just wash up your equipment. You did not, and then there's trouble in your own farm. Another thing I also should have remembered, in your animal farm, whenever you separated sick animals from healthy animals, it's always important. Always important. You know, sometimes we're always inclined to go and look at the sick animals first and see if they are okay before we go and look at the healthy one. Very wrong, very wrong. Whenever you're going to your animal house, if you have animals that are quarantined or animals that are sick, you first go and take care of the healthy animals before you go to the unhealthy ones. Always go from the healthy animals to the unhealthy ones until you're done with the healthy animals before you carry yourself to the animals that are having issues, and so that you reduce spread of pests and diseases. Okay. You design biosecurity zones, identify areas that are high risk and areas that are low risk. Areas of high risk include like the gates where visitors come through. Maybe areas where you've identified that wild animals are always likely to visit. That way you identify them as the high risk zones. All right. All right. So developing biosecurity monitoring and reporting system. Yes, very important. When there's an issue on your farm, you always learn to report it. When your chickens or your farm animals are dying unnecessarily, it's not just about let's just contain it and salvage what we have left. It's very important to report it to maybe some of these veterinary clinics, report it to government agency. It helps save other farms. Look at the case of whether it was rinderpest, avian influenza, whatever, and that was bird flu. You should always report. Report it. Sometimes you don't want to report it, then you not come and kill all your animals in the house. but you're contributing to a very a bigger issue. Okay, so you should always report it, and then also there should be response protocols that is in place. Once you're starting your farm, try to plan out every scenario that may happen. If my animals get sick, what should I do? Even if they are not sick, what am I doing to prevent them from getting sick? Okay, the same thing, create an emergency plans response. Okay, so you outline containment steps, you identify isolation procedure, develop what your treatment plan is, establish communication strategies, identify contact details. So every farm that you're starting up, you should have the contact details of people you can call when there is trouble. It's not when problem come that you become confused. Okay, who should I call? Who should I communicate with? What can I do? You understand? As you start your farm, have all this in place as well. Okay, train farm workers and stakeholders on biosecurity protocols in your farm. We've talked about it. Sometimes, like I said, family and friends may want to visit your farm. There are times even students want to visit a farm. They always give them guidelines of what to do, what not to do. There's station you should wash your hand. Maybe there's a place you should change your clothing and so forth. All right, so you always document and evaluate, always. After every production cycle, always evaluate what went wrong, what did not go wrong. How can I improve next time on the planting season? What can I do better? Should I have gone for this improved variety, or should I change to this next variety? And you constantly keep improving. You don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. All right, so it's been a pleasure discussing this topic with you. Thank you for listening.
All right, of course, of course. Come on, guys, your digital hands. It was, it was just like those old days we used to sit down and John would be doing us tutorials back in class, man. This is beautiful. Thank you, Mr. John. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All
Guys,
right,
come
thank you.
on, man. I believe this was an impactful section. Yes, it was. I'm just having a good refreshing of my memories right now. Thank you, Mr. John. So, guys, keep dropping your questions. So I'm going to quickly start with some questions that have been dropped in the chat box. Yeah, so this question is by Kende Idowu. And he says that I just hope it's a he or a she. Sorry, Kende Idowu. Is the person said there are so much veterinary medication drugs residue in egg sold in Nigerian market. And it's like it has human health. How do we determine animal or poultry product will be taken to the marketplace? And then the second question he asks or she asks is diseased or culled animals are taken to the market for sale. This is a sharp practice amongst farmers. How do we prevent this bad habit and also find a balance between good livestock management practice and economic sustainability of the farmer? So those are the two questions the person asked.
Okay, I'm sorry. For the first question, I didn't hear the first question properly.
Okay, that there are so many veterinary medication drugs residue in eggs sold in Nigerian markets. This is inimical to human health. How do we determine the length of time and space after medication before an animal or poultry product could be taken to the market?
Okay. All right. So for these first questions, in terms of what do we usually call this thing? Is it withdrawal period after you're giving an animal medication? Usually, it's always written on the. It's always written on the. It's supposed to be written on the products, and you are buying if it's a legit product. Okay, there's some product that we buy that is handmade by some people. I'm talking about like let's say a company product, It's always there. Okay. And I remember one time my mother was spraying a chemical in the farm, and I just carried the container. We spray the chemical and we enter the farm the next day. And then and then eventually, I think after a week, right, she was complaining of she was not breathing well. So and then it was like happening for a few days that she's not breathing well. So I was just checking things and I'm like, what could be the issue? And then I took that container because I started noticing it was happening to me too. I now took the container. And then I now saw the withdrawal period was 2 weeks. That means after spraying the farm, you're not supposed to even enter for 2 weeks. You're not supposed to enter the farm for 2 weeks. So a lot of times these things are on the container. We should take time to read. Like I said, a lot of times we don't take time to read these labels. A lot of times we buy expired product. That's the same way sometimes we go to the pharmacy, they give us expired medicine. We don't read. We don't read it. And then honestly, in terms of even there are a lot of people that don't comply with this withdrawal period. And it's really sad. And it's hard to deal with, honestly, because it's really hard to even tackle this problem because we don't even have enough surveillance agencies to go to people's farm or to confirm the product that is entering the market. So it's very hard to control, honestly. Like on a practical note now, right? But normally, like for example, let's say you treated your birds. Let's say the product said for the next 3 days, all eggs collected should be discarded. And then you just imagine your farm of 500 birds. Now they are telling you your 400 eggs you're collecting every day. That is 400 times 3. That is 1,200 eggs. You should throw it away. You'd be like, God forbid. God forbid. Like when I was out, when I experienced when I was out and I experienced some of these surveillance things, like this withdrawal period, every farm is registered. Nobody can just go on and start a farm just like that. The farms are registered. And even do you believe, like I told you, I worked in a poultry farm, I worked with sheep, I worked with in a yogurt factory and all of that. Even the eggs that are coming out from a farm, they have stamps. Each egg you go to any shop have stamp. So that if any issue is found on any egg, they trace it back to the farm that the egg came from. And then you always have inspection officers that just show up unannounced. Not like our own NAFDAC is going somewhere sometimes. And then you have informers that will tell the farmer, oh yeah, guy, will they come next tomorrow? Better prepare. You understand? They just show up unannounced to see if you're complying. Maybe they just come, they do some blood tests on your animals to see if there are any active chemicals in their system. The same way if milk is leaving a farm, they always do tests. Is this milk mastitis free? Does it have certain level of organism? Are there certain chemicals that are still moving inside the bloodstream? Standardly, that's how it should be done. Honestly, for our Nigerian scenarios, all we can do is maybe complain more, pressure the government, identify all these veterinarians that should be going to places to inspect. And let's say our extension is for HR officers that are responsible for this thing. But it's really hard. It's really hard to control these things here in Nigeria because of also the level of poverty. There's no compensation in place that protects you to comply with these things. Like normally, okay, if you're going to discard your eggs, is there any sort of compensation that will be given to you for complying? There is not. So people don't tend to abide by this thing. And then the second question had to do with inspection of meat going into marketplaces. Again, every abattoir is supposed to have a vet officer there that inspect this meat, and then meats that are contaminated, meats that are heavily infested with a pest. They scan the animals that are coming into the abattoir, and then you stop it from even being slaughtered for the market in the first place. But again, what happens. When I was in Kaduna, I was privileged to go around with this livestock regulation authority here in Kaduna with the acting boss in place. And he was telling me something about buying meat in markets. You see, when you go and buy meat in market, and you see somebody is in a location, only him is selling meat. You know, mostly when you go to this market, you see them all crowded together, selling meat, and then you choose which one you want. Now, that one, you really know that this one is coming from an abattoir that people know. So when they bring, they just supply to all of them together. And most likely that abattoir may have a registered veterinarian, at least for some level of assurance. But then when you go to a market and you see these ones that are selling meat in isolation, you should be very careful of those ones because you can't guarantee the source of their meat. It may be someone who killed animal in his backyard, or an animal was dying, he killed it and then brought it to the market. You really can't verify those ones that sell in isolation. So always go to those people that sell in groups. That's one thing. But in terms of really regulating these guys, and we have the Livestock Regulation Authority in Kaduna State. It's after, what's in the location? I think it's close to, is it NDLEA, right? Just browse the Livestock Regulation Authority, like in Kaduna State. When you notice foul practices that is happening, you can report to them. That's part of their job as well. Of their agencies, you can report to. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much. Please, Gabriel, our technical assistant, can you please do us a favor and make Oga Rex an admin so that he can quickly read through some of the questions that we are, because the network actually kicked me out and then I can't track back to some of the questions, but I will read some before you make him the admin, so that he can read through those questions also. So here someone says, in the market we have—
Sorry, please, what's his full name?
Oga Rex. I don't know. Can you raise your hand? Can you raise your hand so that you will see him?
Is he Ogasa?
Ogasa, yeah, Ogasa Rex, right? Yeah. So that he can quickly. Thank you. So let me read this before. Have you done that?
Yeah.
Okay, so please, Rex, just go on, just pick some few questions because I don't think we can also take all of the questions, but just go on with the questions that you see on your screen. Thank you.
Okay, good. Sorry, let me do this quickly. Please confirm you can hear me, please.
Yes, we can. Thank you, sir.
I can.
Okay, let me take this from on Naiwu. Naiwu is asking, please explain briefly the following as regards farm biosecurity, bioprotection, pathogen control, biosafety, biodefense, public health, security, biological risk management. I know these are a couple of people. Please, sir, if you could just pick any of these because we have other questions that we'll need to attend to. Did you hear me, please?
I'm not hearing, please.
Hello, Mr. John, are you there? Mr. Rex?
Yes, I'm here. I can't hear the guy who was.
Okay. So please explain briefly the following as regards farm biosecurity, bioprotection, pathogen control, biosafety, biodefense, public health security, infection, disease protection, and biorisk management. So, Mr. John, you can just maybe pick maybe one or two of this. Then possibly after now, if you can do us a favor and just do something with regards to this, and then we can share it with with the with the participants, but we don't have time to actually go through all of this biosecurity measures he has mentioned. But like he has mentioned, bioprotection, biopathogen control, biosafety, biodefense, public health security, infection, disease protection, and bio risk management.
Okay, he basically wants like definition of the terms. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so maybe because of time and in terms of definition of the terms, I think maybe this is like a practical session. You can maybe go further to read about, just type them online and you'll see them. But basically, bioprotection, biodefense, bio-risk management. Sorry, I didn't catch all. I think they're all still surrounded around the biosecurity about protecting your farms from entry of pests and diseases, and also containing diseases from leaving your farm. I mean, that's just the essence of the point. So as a farmer, whatever your goal is to prevent diseases from coming into your farm. And like I said, there are practical steps you should take in terms of limiting people who come. You should also, in terms of even the way you design your buildings to protect against winds, because even the winds come with their own pathogens. And some design stuff, some people, it's rare to see, but some people even use air filters to filter off the air so that the air coming into the animal farm is clean. So that's what it's all about in terms of the biodefense, bio-risk management, doing risk assessment, like when you have to site your farm in a certain location, you assess the risks first. What's the surrounding area like? Are there farms close by? What is the proximity to, let's say, veterinary clinic, and so on and so forth. So, and is it around residential area? Those are all part of the biorisk management. So it's all centered around what I've been talking about since in terms of the biosecurity itself and protecting your farms and protecting other people's farms and protecting public health as well. So, all right.
Okay, so
Okay. Yeah.
okay, so what would
Okay.
Mr. Rex, Mr. Augusta Rex, sorry,
Yes,
let
I'm
me
with
take
you,
it.
sir.
Let me just take it on from here. Please,
All
I will
right.
need
All right.
3 people to just raise up their hands. I can see Musa Ibrahim. Yeah, I believe maybe you also have a question. We need 3 people, 3 questions quickly. Good. So, okay, Hassan, Latif, and Justice Cletus. So please unmute them so that they can quickly ask their questions in the next 3 minutes. Please, 30 seconds, please. Your questions. Please unmute Musab Ibrahim. Mr. Gabriel, sir, please can you unmute Musab Ibrahim?
Hello, sir.
Good, go on. Yes, we can hear. Unmute, please unmute and ask your question. Mr. Gabriel, yes, we can hear you. Please.
Yes, my name is Musab Ibrahim. I'm calling from Kaduna State. Right now, if I even right now I'm in the farm. So basically, we are really farmers. We are potential farmers. So really, this this training is very important to me. It's vital. It's highly vital. And then I will say this presentation is wonderful. And then my question is pertaining biosecurity. We have problem with our crops, like let me say sorghum. Sorghum, we have one problem that we are having with it in this Yobe, particularly in Yobe State. That is honeydew. Honeydew. It's honeydew. We are calling it shenyao in this area, shenyao. So this honeydew is hardly for you to at least protect your farm from it because the cultural practices that we are enacting, we are adhering, is very, very difficult for you to at least uh, protect it. So I don't know whether Mr. The presenter will at least help us to guide us how we can at least protect our farm. Usually, this is protozoa, and then
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's fine. He would do well with that. So Hassan Latif, please can you unmute Hassan Latif so that you can also the three of them can also quickly. Hassan Latif, do that quickly, sir, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please unmute Hassan Latif for us.
Good afternoon, sirs. Thank you for the previous lectures. In order not to waste our time, I'm calling from Lagos State. So my first question is that how can biosecurity measures be adapted for different climates or regions?
Please, Mr. Gabriel, why is it taking so much time?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Go on, man.
Yes. First question is, how do biosecurity measures differ between small-scale farmer and large-scale farmer?
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I believe we heard that. How does biosecurity measures differ between large-scale farmers and small-scale farmers? Now, Justice Cletus, please quickly.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go on, please.
Okay, my name is Justice Cletus, calling from Kaduna State. I kudos to the presenter of today's lectures, a wonderful one. I just have one or two questions. Sir, I remember sometimes I engage on data collection with these livestock farmer within my locality under this company, Vet Connect. So in the course of my interaction with these farmers, they try to identify this, that locally, the way they are local livestock farmers, how can they locally be advised on how they can ensure the safety of their livestock? Sometimes you discover that older livestock will go out unknowingly and come and mix with theirs. And so if the other one have already contaminated with the disease, those ones that are not, or they are on free ranges, they can easily be contacted. So how can they be advised locally on how they can control that? Secondly, sir, can the presenter help us with a precaution or a remedy? It's on crop problem. There's this issue that we had in my community in Kaduna State that has to do with ginger. All of a sudden, you discover that ginger will now turn yellowish. And when it turns yellowish, after a week, you discover it will begin to rotting. So we've not really understand what might be the cause, because as it is, ginger production in Kaduna State, it has dropped down to 0.something%, because a lot of those who keep the seedling has rotted. So honestly, if there's a way he can advise, and possibly the few people that have the small seedling that want to replant, they can help. Thank you very much.
That's fine. Thank you very much. So, Mr. John, quickly, these questions, you can just quickly brush through them as we conclude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had the network issue. Listening to was how can biosecurity be adopted? My network went off. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You can go on, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, so I didn't hear these last questions, but I think for those that maybe have specific problems in their farm, like I'm more of a livestock guy. So for those that have specific problems on their farm, like even Victor Boba, you have connections to like the Professor Sudengi, who are Professor, this our professor from ABU, in crop protection. Yes, Professor Bami. And these guys are really great farmers, and I know a lot of people that have had their problems being solved by them. So it will be really great to connect directly with them. Victor Boba can do that. You're going to get way better answers. I remember even Professor Sudengi in Southern Kaduna, he was even put in charge of one of these ginger issues that when this ginger problem was happening, he also was given a key role to play in it. So Victor Bobai can really connect you with these people to answer your specific needs.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Of course.
And then for the who asked about biosecurity being adapted for different climates or regions, definitely speaking, that's true. Because the biosecurity measures that are taking place in Europe is not the same one that will be taking place in Nigeria. That's why there is that risk assessment. There are pests and diseases that are more prevalent in Nigeria that are not as prevalent out there, and some that are more prevalent that we don't know. So there are times that that's why you need to also seek counseling, either from agencies or you read online what are the things that are specific to your region. Once you find out the nature of these diseases, then you can plan your biosecurity. That's why at the beginning I said there is no one size fits all for everybody. You need to know what is in that your region, what is obtainable, what are the problems you're likely to face in that your region. Taking into cognizance the climate, because this pests and diseases also rely on the type of climate that you have. Whether it's a warm climate, you see a moisture, like is there a lot of moisture in that climate, for example, like how honeydew is going to easily establish when the humidity is high, and so forth. So you always take into cognizance that in your risk assessments before. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We are grateful. And then to our participant, like what you heard him say, Professor Bameyi will be a facilitator in the coming week. Also, Professor Sadengi will also be a facilitator in the coming week. So all these questions you have, right? Just keep them all installed because we have all these facilitators that will be here to, of course, meet all your needs. So quickly, Gabriel, please do us a favor and unmute Ifeanyi and Femi Idowu to give a vote of thanks to our facilitator this evening for this wonderful lecture. Please, can you help us? At least let's have two people. Ifeanyi Inogbo, please, can you do us a favor and on behalf of your colleagues, just give a vote of thanks. Ifeanyi Idowu, thank you very much.
Okay. A big thank you to our facilitator for that insightful and very educative information and strategies, because it's beyond information, strategies for us to effect on our farm to be able to be disease free. So on behalf of me, the Lagos people and every other state present here, we are very grateful. You have really made impact on us. Even you, it may look little, but I'm sure one or two informations gotten from here will make a great impact in our farm. So we really appreciate you, sir. We hope to get more of you. Thank you very much, sir.
Very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so one more person, please. Can you unmute one more person?
Okay, good evening, everyone.
All right.
Can you hear
So
me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
yes, we can. Yes,
Okay.
we can. Thank you very much.
All right, you're very welcome. I am Ifani from Imo State. I'm actually a student at Federal Polytechnic, Nekede. Just like Mr. John mentioned earlier, some of us here are farmers, while some of us here are crop farmers, while some of us here are animal farmers. And also, there are some of us here that are here to get more knowledge, at least those who are planning to venture into livestock farming or crop farming or into agriculture. So your lecture has really gone a long way for us. We really, really appreciate it. It's quite impactful. We thank you so much for your time. And on behalf of me and other participants, we say a very big thank you to you and also to the GSAI management. We also acknowledge your efforts for this program. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Good. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi and Mr. John. We are grateful on behalf of all the management staff of GSAI and also our sponsors. Want to say a very big thank you for your time. And of course, again, thank you for coming. We are really grateful and we hope to have you more in time. So quickly, everyone here, the announcement as usual, of course. So I've seen a lot of people typing, they don't have, is it codes or yeah, codes. That's what they were saying. So codes are not sent to participants, right? They are not sent to participants. It is in a master sheet, and that master sheet are usually being dropped in the group. You just go through it, you see your name and the code. So that's what you use. And also, we should remember that certificates is presently subsidized at 5,000 naira from now to the 27th of June. Anything after 27th of June is going back to the normal price of 20,000 naira. Yeah, so you can check the group, of course, the group to see the account details. And of course, then the lecture materials are free of charge. And so is also the certificate. Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone. As time has reached 5:27, I want to thank everyone for your time, for being here to this very moment. So I don't know, do we have anything from our sponsors? Gabriel, do we have anything from our sponsors for the next 2 minutes that we can display? If there is none, we call it off for today. And then, of course, the attendance sheet, I can see somebody just quickly said something about that.
No, I don't think so. I did not receive anything.
All right, thank you very much. So with regards to attendance sheets, where is Suleiman? Suleiman, is Suleiman here? Do we have anything about the attendance sheet? I don't think a link was dropped. Or please do check the group chat if the link to the attendance sheet has been dropped. I believe it should be dropped there. Yeah. So again, thank you everyone, and also continue with us. I want to advise you to continue on this very, very journey. You see, the truth of the matter is Nigeria is heading to a point whereby they will need people with strong capacity development like this to mount the agricultural space. Yes. And of course, with time, we'll have excellent sponsors. And then when it comes to empowerment, you people that have undergone training like this are the first people who reach out to. So this is, I shouldn't have said this, but I just want to encourage you people so that you give more to what you are receiving here. Don't look down on what you are receiving here. You get the point? Trust me, don't look down on what you are receiving here. Just brace it up, and believe me, with time, yeah, you'll be glad that you were a part of this training. Thank you very much. Once again, our participants, we appreciate you all. Thank you, and do have a great weekend ahead. And see you on Tuesday with Professor Wapa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day, everyone.
Yeah.